Welcome everyone to the Elevator Show with Kirk Buchner, that'd be me, and my co-host Chris Mouradian, that would be
Hey,
this
how you doing? Hey,
guy. And this is the show where here at Not in Hall of Fame we look at who in the past month, this being we're looking back at August of 2024, made their Hall of Fame case for, or maybe they didn't. Hence, elevator up, elevator down. And Chris and I don't tell each other what we're actually doing. We just give it an amount. I have a lot less to talk about than Chris does. So, but before we sort of do that, hey, stop what you're doing, pause this, come back to it, because you're going to go to www.theusahof and you're going to vote on the United States Athletics Hall of Fame class of 2024. Do that right now and then come back. And the great thing about that is you can do that every day because you're going to decide who is going to be a part of the United States Athletics Hall of Fame. This is the only thing where democracy actually works. There is no electoral college here. We don't do that. We don't separate the baseball players with the auto racers. We could, but we don't. You can vote on this right now and be part of the second ever class. All right, now that you're back, Chris, I'm going to give the floor to you because you have more elevators than I do. I don't know if we're going to overlap. We might, but we'll see.
it's possible, but I don't think we're going to overlap on this first one here.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with to the world of basketball here.
Okay.
Not a whole lot going on in basketball right now with the season not having started, postseason out or already done, draft, stuff out of the way. But Zach Randolph was recently named to the Memphis Sports Hall of Fame.
I did see that. Yeah.
And yeah, so Zach had a nice NBA career, over 1,100 games. He's top 75 in scoring, top 50 in rebounding. He was the most improved player back in 2003, 2004 season, two-time NBA All-Star, one-time third-team All-NBA. And while it may not sound like the most robust of Hall of Fame resumes, this upcoming class, the ballot is not exactly the deepest it's been in years. So getting your name out there, like Zach did here with the Memphis Sports Hall of Fame, kind of gets your name back out there in the cycle. And with the Basketball Hall of Fame meeting starting to come up later this fall here, it's something that could work in his favor. So a little bit of a deep cut here.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Out there a little bit, but Zach did have a nice career. Like I said, over 1,100 games. I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at. So, and top 70 in scoring with some of the players and the way the scoring has really exploded over the last decade or so. To still be kind of hanging up there with that. He had a career that's worth talking about, I think, for the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame committee. So let's see where this takes him.
That's a really good one. Yeah, because the Basketball Hall of Fame, because I've been charting that one, I think for the last 7 years where I've been doing my rank of those to consider who are eligible. And this is the first time that I don't have anybody new who cracked the top 10. I didn't have anyone who cracked the top 50.
Yeah, it's not that there aren't players out there that are worthy of discussion and worthy of being selected. It's just not as notable of the names as we've had recently with the Paul Pierces and the Kobe Bryants and Steve Nash and those kind of guys.
Yeah, this will be a year where, again, because we don't even know how they decide anything. Thanks. Yeah, because Chris and I just interviewed Clark Judge. Thanks again, Clark, for coming on our show. We really appreciate that. Who is one of the Pro Football Hall of Fame voters. We're not going to be able to do that for basketball because we don't know who any of them are.
No, shrouded in secrecy, covered in a sheet, tucked away in a back room somewhere, completely hidden.
Oh well, but so be it. Or as the French say, "C'est la vie."
Your French is better than mine, so
well, I am half Quebecois, didn't you know?
I did not know.
Yes. Of course, my dad didn't speak French, my mom didn't speak German, so I speak only English and sarcasm. That's all I got. I'll
Bad
let you.
English and bad
Yeah.
sarcasm.
Well, all I learned from German was when my dad hit his thumb with a hammer. Scheißen.
Excellent. So, you want to come back with one here?
Uh, okay, you got five. Yeah, I'll start with one. I'm going to go to the world of baseball, and he's not going to be a Hall of Famer right now because he hasn't played 10 years, and he's only had his breakout year this year. And it's someone I kind of mentioned before that his season was kind of being wasted with Javier Baez's crappy contract and lousy play, who I had as an elevator done. I mean, somebody cut the cords on that elevator. Uh, but I've got you've got to have a breakout at some point to get in the Baseball Hall of Fame. He's having it this year. He's probably the only one who I think is a lock for one of the major awards, and that's Tariq Skubal, Detroit Tigers pitcher. He's 16-4. He's either first or second in major categories of wins, strikeouts, uh, ERA, and WHIP. He's having a phenomenal year. There's no one really that close in the American League, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. And the Tigers right now, as we're recording this, are 70-70, and I can just imagine how good they would be if they didn't have Baez on that team and being forced to sort of give him at bats.
Yeah, it's kind of been a lost season for him, but very cool of Scooble there to really kind of rise up and put his stamp on the season here the way he has.
Mhm.
He's been, what is it, about the third year now that he's been um,
I think it's his fifth season, but
this
his
season with
first
third.
real as a breakout. Like he was
Okay.
a good starter, and you just there was always something there. And this
Mm-hmm.
year he seems to have harnessed it
All
all.
come
And
together.
it's really beautiful to watch. Baseball may not be the sport it used to be when we were kids, but man, there's just some great stories if you look for it.
Yeah.
You don't really have to
Just
look at
for,
it. Baseball's been,
yeah,
I love baseball this year. The new rule with the stolen bases has been great. Can I tangent on something else because I want your take on this?
sure. Go ahead. It's your
This
show.
well, it's our show.
It's,
I do
all
get
right.
top billing though, only because it's alphabetical.
There you go.
I read a month ago, and I don't know how serious they are, and I hope they do this. I saw it on an ESPN article, and if they break, this might come up in the winter meetings, and I hope they make this a lock that starting pitchers will have to go 6 innings.
Yeah, I saw that story kind of thrown out there as well, and it's kind of where the game itself has kind of destroyed the starting pitching
Mm-hmm.
compared to what it has been. Um, just for fun, I was kind of flipping through some of the old, being from Wisconsin here, flipping through some of the old Milwaukee Brewers season stats, looking back at the early '80s and seeing them have for an entire season 15 pitchers, and teams go through more than that in the first couple of weeks of the season nowadays, and they have to kind of they've conditioned these kids right out of little league and into high school to just give it everything they got for 3-4 innings, and then just run the train of relief pitchers out there. I think it's you know I wish they get back to the days where there were no pitch counts, there were no pitch clocks, or
Mm-hmm.
the starting pitcher went out there and they expected to throw 9 innings and win the game,
Yeah.
and that's just been taken from us. Um, whether they make it 5 innings, 6 innings, I don't think the managers are gonna really care what that stat is. They're still gonna manage the game the way they've been managing it here the last decade or so, 20 years, and the starting pitcher is still just going to be expected to go out there, get your 100 pitches in, whether they're 50 strikes, 50 balls, or whatever they are, and then
Well,
out to the bullpen.
from what I read, though, it looks like the proposal would be you can take the pitcher out for three reasons. One, obviously injury. Two, a pitch count, and they floated around 100, which that's fair. I mean, or if you've allowed 4 earned runs, not unearned.
Yeah.
So, because if somebody doesn't have it, you're stuck with him. I mean, that's not fair either.
Well, that's not fair either. But at the same time, we've seen the pitchers, their win totals. Is there going to be a 20-game winner this year?
I don't think so.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If somebody gets lucky with like the last week of the season, it's just you and we grew up in the same era with
Mhm.
baseball, and we're used to what we see. The Hall of Fame itself, which our show is based upon,
Mhm.
300 wins, 3,000 strikeouts, nice round numbers that when a pitcher reached those numbers, you knew they had a Hall of Fame career.
Mhm.
And nowadays, those numbers are,
Unattainable.
yeah, really, maybe the strikeouts, since the batters now swing at pretty much anything and everything. The
Yeah.
discipline from the game is gone when it comes to that. Everybody's focused on this, exit velocity and exit angle and all these other stats or metrics or whatever. And you get back to putting the ball in play, single, doubles, triples. Who cares about how many home runs there are? It's 6 solo home runs or 8 runs on 14 hits. I mean, which game is more exciting to you? So
I feel
I
like
don't
most
know. They've been tinkering with the game so much lately. It's getting frustrating on my end if you can't kind of tell from the response here. Um,
a little bit.
I I'd just rather watch a random 1985 Kansas City Royals Texas Rangers game from May than really pretty much anything from today's.
1985 with the Texas Rangers. I can see the Royals, but
It's just more or less two random teams. Give me the Mariners and the
weren't they
and the
even
Oakland
worse?
A's.
Oh, well, either way,
So, but
it's a,
yeah,
it's a good one. Yeah.
yeah. So it is something that's out there. It'll be interesting to see how they take this. I mean, 5 innings has been the standard for as long as I can remember. So we'll see. I think it's kind of a change that they've more or less had to consider based on the way they've
Mhm.
um, ruled the game, shall we say?
It will change rosters. You would imagine. You imagine it'd be because what I think most teams carry maybe only 3 people on their bench now, 3 or 4.
Yeah, 12 position players and 13, 14 pitchers, depending on
Yeah,
maybe a little more
and
early in the
especially
season.
after
But
the September call-ups. I mean, you almost need to put a balcony into the bullpen.
well, now there's another rule that they've messed with now. The September call-ups is no longer up to 40 man. I think it's 2 players, and again, it's just the September calls are always one of the more fun aspects of the baseball season. I thought where maybe a kid gets in a couple of games at the end of the year, gets a taste of what Major League Baseball is like, and
Mhm.
the fans get a chance to maybe see their team's next star player. Now
Yeah,
it's just a guy that they've kind of been floating back and forth between AAA and the disabled list and their active roster that they just activate for the rest of the season, just so they have a
yeah,
16th arm or whatever it is to throw out there. But
yeah. Because you need that
yeah,
16th pitcher.
six-man rotations now in a lot of
Yeah.
these teams. Starting out with a relief pitcher to get the
Oh,
first
I
two
hate that.
outs.
I hate that.
Yeah,
Who came up
it's
with that? Tampa, right? Was that Lou
yeah,
Piniella?
it was Tampa. I don't know if it was Lou Piniella. I think it might have been Kevin Cash
I think you're right.
down
Yeah, I don't
there.
know why I thought you thought Lou Piniella. It just seems like something he would do.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like I said, I'd rather watch a a random game from the '80s at this point than what's being played today.
There you go. All right. Floor back to you.
All right. Um, the Olympics. We touched on some of the athletes last time we talked,
Mhm.
but the games are still going on at that point. So
Yeah.
I wanted to circle back here and kind of discuss a few more athletes that had some pretty outstanding Olympics for us. And we start out with a name that a lot of people probably are familiar with, and that's Sydney McLaughlin. Sydney, it was won another gold medal for the United States this year in the 400-meter ladies hurdles, and in doing so, she set a new world and Olympic record.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she is just dominant at her sport. Continues to bring gold home for America here. So I wanted to bring her up. As you mentioned before, there's the USA Hall of Fame that we're a part of here, and when she is of age, because I think she's already done enough to be got to be 50, done enough athletically to be considered. She definitely will fall into that onto that ballot, and we'll see where she can end her career here and end up with the United States Track and Field Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. Do you have more from the Olympics? Maybe you want to sweep.
Actually, yeah, I do. The rest of mine are actually all from the Olympics. So,
they are all.
If you want to,
why don't you do two more then?
Sure. We're gonna go with Kristen Faulkner. Kristen is a cyclist. Won 2 Olympic gold medals this year, road and track cycling. And in doing so, she became the first American woman and just the 3rd Olympian in history with a gold medal in the same Olympics in 2 disciplines. So road cycling and track cycling considered 2 different disciplines, even though they're both under cycling. So pretty fantastic accomplishment there for Kristen, being the first American to do that. And then we got Emmet Elor, a young female wrestler, took home gold in the 68 kilogram weight class. The reason I wanted to mention her today was her age. I mean, she's young. She's just 20 years old. So she has a potentially long Olympic career ahead of her, and could be bringing home several more golds as she goes on. Being a gold medalist this young, really kind of excited for what her future could be in that sport.
Yeah, I was actually one sport I said to myself I was going to dedicate to watching more of in the Olympics, and I did, not as much as I would have liked. I know that a little while ago, I want to say 8 years, they were talking, was it 8 or 4? I forget which one. They were talking about cutting Greco-Roman, like wrestling, from the Olympics. And the pro wrestling Twitter was sort of going nuts. And then another former pro wrestler, Lance Storm, said, "Yeah, but were any of you actually watching it?" Good point. I was not. So I sort of made a point to do that, especially when a lot of them, it's for football fans like us too. You can see a lot of that leverage too in play and line work. It's a fascinating sport to watch.
Yeah, it is. And the ladies wrestling is a newer sport that's been added in the past few Olympics here. So there's it's growing considerably faster than the men's wrestling has, because that's been around for much longer. So there's that aspect of it too. So yeah, interesting, and congratulations to her.
Now I have to watch Vision Quest again. I haven't seen that one.
All right. So what do you got coming back?
I'm going to stick with the positive and baseball again. In other years, this man would be an MVP contender. He's probably not going to be, but he was 7th place in MVP last year in the American League. Probably, I'm going to guess, 3rd place this year if everything sort of stays the way it is behind Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. Imagine that. Ohtani could finish with a 50-50, 50 home runs, 50 steals, and not win the MVP because Aaron Judge has been so great.
Yeah, that would be something. Well, AL MVP and NL MVP there. So
no, but he's an Angel. Dodger. Sorry, that's right. He's a Dodger. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. All right. So anyway, the guy I've got is someone who's taking Kansas City back to the playoffs. you mentioned the Royals before, and that's Bobby Witt. This is his third season. He's going to be a 30-30 guy. He's 2 steals away from that, and he will do that 2 years in a row. So not many people have done that twice in a row. Witt's going to do that. His defense has been incredible. He's got a B WAR of 9 right now, and if the season ends today, he wins the batting title. He's young. He's a dynamic shortstop, and he's making his team better. What more do you want from a player? And I know that the 2 guys I've picked are not Hall of Fame eligible or even close to that, but you've got to have a year like this. Mm-hmm. And now he's putting together back-to-back ones, with this one being even better. Sky's the limit for this kid.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. And like you said, his third season now, and just continues to make noise there. Doing it with Kansas City, that doesn't get the most national attention.
No.
So to continue to just put together, stack season on top of season like this here, that's how you become a Hall of Famer.
They're way ahead of schedule in the rebuild. Mm-hmm. And with my Jays out, I always sort of like cheer for the team that I think it means the most to that particular fan base. And Kansas City's it's a great sports town. Yeah, I know they've got a whole lot to cheer for with the Chiefs, but whatever. I mean, and I've always had a soft spot for the Padres because Tony Gwynn was my favorite all-time player. But
yeah, that's a great one. I like where your mind's at on that one. Finding somebody that's putting stacking success on top of success there.
Yep.
Sweet. I have 2 more left here. Not sure how many more you have on your list there.
I got 2 that are elevator down.
Okay, both mine are ups again. So up to you if you want to.
Oh, do another up, and then I'll do my down, and then I guess I'll close with, because I got a big rant on my down.
Yeah. Okay. So the next one, like I said, we're sticking with the Olympics here, and that is Lee Kiefer. Lee is a female fencer for the United States, and she won her second and third gold medals in fencing this year. Women's individual foil and then the team foil events. So 3-time Olympic gold medalist now. Number 1 in the world rankings. First American woman to hold the number 1 position there. So she is, again, not a television favorite type sport when it comes to Olympics, but obviously a lot of effort and practice and commitment, dedication goes into becoming as good as Lee has become here in her sport. And so I wanted to make sure to mention her accomplishments here. 2 double gold this year, third gold medals, 3 gold medals now in her Olympic career.
Oh, that's a good one.
And then the last one we're going to go to here is Vincent Hancock. And Vincent is now a 4-time gold medalist in the sport of shooting. So he has won golds in 2008, 2012, 2020, and now 2024. And so he is one of 8 athletes to have won 4 gold medals in the same event now.
Oh, okay.
So again, shooting, obviously it looks easy in the video games. It's it is not. And to be as good as Vincent has for as long as he has, really says a lot for him and his skills and the accomplishments that he has here with his 4 Olympic gold medals.
Okay, love it. All right, so I guess I'm closing with 2 elevator downs, and I told you that one of my elevator downs is actually one of your previous elevator ups.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see who this is here.
Staying with the Olympics, and it's because this guy should just shut the fuck up.
Okay.
Noah Lyles.
Oh.
No, he seems to have a problem with team sports in the United States calling themselves world champions. I get your point. I get it. Let's be blunt. If you win the Super Bowl, you're the best team, period. Now, yeah, football's not big in a lot of other places. There's no other great league. Vinny, our friend Vinny, he can actually tell you about all. He's researched all the other football leagues all around the world. Obviously, they don't hold a candle to this, but I give that one a pass because let's be blunt, everywhere in the world they're watching that Super Bowl. Everywhere. Maybe they're watching it because Beyonce might be on halftime. I know that's why my wife will watch Super. Although she did promise me, let's see how well this ages. She's going to learn football this year.
All right. Well, starts tonight.
I've heard that before. I remember going to a Raiders game in Vegas as part of my 50th birthday celebration extravaganza for just making it to a half century. And then at halftime, she said, "Can we go?"
No, honey, there's a whole other half.
Yeah, exactly right. Like she was having so much fun. It was actually she was you would like this. She was hanging out with the Packers fans because it was Green Bay on the road, and so at the tailgate it was mostly all Packers and cheeseheads, and she was drinking, she's having fun, and then we're walking around Allegiant Stadium. It's a gorgeous stadium. She's having fun there. The Vegas Knights were out doing the whatever the lighting the torch or that shit. So she saw that, and then as soon as kickoff,
Got to start, like you said with Bobby Wood. You got to start. You got to start
yeah.
stacking success and success. So Gary, start watching some
Yes.
games here with you and
Well,
staying engaged for the whole game.
Lyle, go exactly. I tangented myself there. Is that a word? I don't know. What is now? Lyles also was talking shit about the NBA. Like, look, you call yourself a world champion. Again, no, I get your point. But if you're pissing off athletes in team sports, who, let's be blunt, are bigger names than you are, that's not a good move. It
Well,
just isn't. It's not going to raise your profile like you think it does. When Tyreek Hill and Tyreek was talking smacks, like I could beat him in a 40. Probably he couldn't. But then when Noah responds with, the Tyreek Hill's clout chasing, no. Tyreek Hill's a bigger name than you are, my friend. No, I like you. I like you. I like your swagger, but it's misplaced.
yeah. Respect, I think is you want respect for what you've accomplished, fastest man in the world,
You are.
title. Show the respect for the other athletes around the world as well. I don't know where the beef comes from here, but it just kind of either rise above it or just kind of laugh along with it.
It's a weird flex to me. And I think that might hurt him down the road. If this is how he thinks for our United States Athletic Hall of Fame, www.theUSAHOF. Shameless plug.
.com.
Yep, .com. And my final one is somebody who's already in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame as a player, deservedly so, but she's not going to get there as a coach. And that is Teresa Witherspoon, of the head coach of the Chicago Sky, who are currently imploding and falling apart. This woman does not know what she's doing as a head coach, from what I can see. I spent the afternoon sort of listening to other blogs and bloggers on just the mistakes that she keeps making. And basically, she's letting the inmates run the asylum. Chicago is the team with Angel Reese, and Angel's a great player. There's been a lot of videos where they're saying that she's the worst player in the NBA because she can't shoot worth shit. That's not fair. She's not a great shooter. Still averages over 10 points a game, which is decent. But yeah, an interesting stat came out or not came out. It's right there. Like she's one of the worst shooters in the league, but 90% of her shots are within 8 feet. That's not good.
No.
But she's an excellent defender, and she's also a rookie. But this team with her and Kennedy Carter is they're currently their best player, that's scary because Kennedy is a problem, which is basically a problem child. She didn't play in the WNBA last year because the year before that she was suspended for fighting one of her teammates. She's the one who did that giant flagrant foul on Caitlin Clark. Obviously, they hate Caitlyn. I get it. I get the hatred that a lot of these women have towards her. She became the face out of nowhere to a lot of people. But Caitlin Clark, and I know a lot of people say, well, it's because she's white. Well, no, it's because she plays like Steph Curry. She's doing something that we haven't seen any of the other women do on a regular basis, and that's drain from way downtown. And she does it effortlessly, and she's humble about it. She's a very easy person to like. Now, if you're somebody and you only like her because she's white and straight, go fuck yourself. Bluntly, I like there's, and sadly there are people like that. And if you hate on Angel Reese because she's black, go fuck yourself too. Sadly, that shit does exist, but she is a player that is relatable because of what she does on the court. Now, when you watched the Sky play, the Chicago Sky, I don't know why Camille Cardoso, is not getting more time. That woman's legit. She was actually drafted ahead of Angel this year because the Sky had the 6 and 7 pick, and they took Cardoso. They're they're it's like they're playing a type of street ball, and that's fine if you want to be like the Oakland Raiders of old. That's great. Not if you don't win, and you don't win. Who's the head coach here? You're I don't know who's running that team. Marina Mabry said, well, shouldn't say it like this because but more or less said without saying it, I got to get the hell out of this place. I first year coaches that's hard, but clearly this woman has no control over her team, and I think she likes it that way, or she doesn't know how to coach, or a combination of both. She's just awful at coaching.
Well, some people just are not cut out to be coaches. The game came too easy to them. They don't really have a way to kind of convey what they were able to do to their players. The first name that comes to mind with that would be Ted Williams. I mean, one of the greatest baseball hitters of all time, but just really had a difficult time trying to teach younger players that under his wing, how to hit. So sometimes it's just something that people just don't have in them. They may be the best at what they do, but they just don't know how to convey that in a way to somebody else to learn. And maybe that's the case here.
Or maybe it's just a case where she just seems to like, okay, when they're doing when both those times when there's flagrant fouls on Clark, you don't see her even upset in the post media scrums. There's no even trying to have her players take any kind of accountability. Now, whether that she's saving that for the locker room, maybe. I don't think so. Based on people wanting to get the hell out and based on what we see on the court. Chicago was never going to be a team that was going to win it all this year. It looks like it's going to be a Las Vegas, Connecticut final, which is what I'm hoping for. Connecticut's a very tough team, but they win. I know there's not a whole lot of people really invested in the WNBA. I've made my personal investment on that. Again, Buchner for commissioner. Huh? No, probably never happen, huh? I don't see that happening either, but
yeah, I mean, the thing with the coaches, they set the tone for the team. And if the coach is setting that kind of tone behind the scenes, and that's, as you mentioned, not showing publicly that you're disappointed with the actions of your teammates, or not your teammates, your players on your team.
She seems
yeah, then that may be their team strategy, and obviously it's a failing strategy at this point.
I don't even know if they have one. Like watching them, like, this team should not be this bad. Not with that talent that they have on that roster. They should not be this bad. And here they are. Like Clark has finally turned things around. Like Clark is full of like. There's a lot of people will say that she's the best player in the league. No, she's not. She's also she can drain threes, and that's beautiful to watch. She can pass, which is great, but she's a turnover machine. She set the record before the Olympic break, I think before the Olympic break, of most turnovers in a season. That's not great. Angel Reese set the record for rebounds in a season. Unfortunately, half of them seem to be her own misses. That's not true, but it's actually someone did do the work to find out whether she would have broke the record, and she wouldn't have, because a good amount of her offensive rebounds are her missing layups.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Different. Wasn't sure where you were going with that one there. So.
Well, yeah, it's I've we've seen before where coaches lose their team.
Mhm.
I've never seen. Maybe I've never paid enough attention to that in the WNBA. But with a rookie coach who is a Hall of Fame player herself, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if she lost the team or she just doesn't know
Never
how
had
to
the team.
I really don't know.
Yeah.
But the
She
end
maybe
result
never took control of the
is
team.
stink. Rename them the Chicago Stink.
I think won't pick on the White Sox tonight.
There you go. And with that, check out all the other shows here in the Buchnerverse. There was always the weekly show I do with Evan Nolan, where Chris was a guest last week. We've got some special guests. As we mentioned, Clark Judge was kind enough to appear. The Retro Football Show, I'm going to be reporting Super Bowl. Which one is it? The one where the Raiders destroy the Redskins. Is that 17 or 18?
1984.
1984, thank you. But I don't know if that's 17, Super Bowl 17 or Super Bowl 18.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. And I have a special guest lined up for that. The Violator will be there, Wayne Mabry.
Nice, Wayne. Good to see him.
Yeah. So I'm stoked for that. So certainly a lot of things sort of coming together here in the 32nd floor of the official Not Hall of Fame building in Seattle. You should come and visit us here at the Not Hall of Fame building. Just turn left on the meth heads, turn right on the crack addict, and we're right there.
It's only kind of an exaggeration.
I learned by living here because I Googled why do meth heads sort of hunch over, and it's called the heroin hunch.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, something I never thought I'd have to Google, but I did. Anyway.
www.theusahof.com.
You know
Vote.
Get
out there every day.
Absolutely. Wherever you are, wherever you may be, make today count because it never comes again. Later.